Hello and thank you for watching our concept video. I will be discussing two ideas that I had for Dead by Daylight that I would absolutely love to see in the DLC down the road. The first being a figure from Mexican folklore and a licensed killer from a video game that I think would make a good addition to the Dead by Daylight cast because we have too many movie killers and I think we could definitely use some video game killers. So first off, from Mexican folklore we have La Llorona. Now, for those of you who do not know about Mexican culture or Spanish, La Llorona basically means weeping woman. So to give you the too long didn't read version of her story, she was basically a beautiful woman who eventually fell in love with a young man who is absolutely handsome, kind of like myself. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. Anyway, so he was handsome. They fell in love. I'm saying that with air quotations, and got married and had two beautiful kids. Well, La Llorona basically found out that her husband was not faithful to her. And because of this, she went completely psychotic, got her two children, and drowned them in a lake. So after she realized what she'd done, she became a bawling mess and wouldn't stop crying, hence the name the Weeping Woman. So in Mexican culture, she would basically known to be someone who would be out in the night crying her eyes off looking for her children, and if she happens to see you and thinks you might be her kids, she's gonna come after you. Now in Dead by Daylight, the entity has found our weeping woman and has cut her a deal. If you come work with me, you get your children back. But before we work into her ability, let's take a look at her design. So I was thinking, La Llorona originally was a very, very beautiful woman, so I say let's keep her that way. There was a model made by a Reddit user named TheDaw111. TheDaw? Tada? I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but for starters, one, he made an absolutely sick looking model. I absolutely love this model. And two, I think it would be a perfect example of what La Llorona should look like in her human form. I want her looking human for now, but that's not gonna be the case throughout the entire game. Something is gonna happen and she is gonna go, well, she's basically gonna transform. She is gonna transform into a much feral looking creature. And the best I could do, because we're a very poor YouTube channel, and by poor I mean we're not big at all, so I have to use visual aids from other things. And the best I could do is basically think of her transforming into the witch from Left 4 Dead, where she goes from a beautiful woman to a much more feral looking beast. Now, the way this is going to tie into her ability is La Llorona is actually going to use her children. So you could place her children down as proximity alarms, basically as, think of the hag's traps. A survivor will be walking and suddenly if he walks into a certain radius near the kid will trigger and pop out of nowhere. They maybe do a little jump scare, keep things interesting, even though I hate the hag's jump scares. But the kid will come out and freak out, like crying, bawling, like calling for his mother. And because of this and how loud the kid will be, the survivor will get a speed penalty until he exits a certain radius out of the trap, and even after that, it will persist for maybe at least 5 to 7 seconds. I'm not very good at balancing, so don't take these numbers for like absolute certainty. These are just ideas. So in total, she will be able to place at least 2 of these kid traps, which is a very, very weird phrase I did not think I would be saying, and probably is putting me on a watch list, around the map wherever she pleases. Now, when the trap triggers, that is when the transformation begins. La Llorona would go from her beautiful woman state to a completely feral looking state. During this, she will get a massive speed penalty. Think of basically when Billy is doing his chainsaw sprint, and she will be able to move that fast for 30 seconds or until she hits another survivor. So basically, as soon as her trap gets triggered, she will be sent into rage mode. Now, the way I see this as viable is that this could work in 2 different ways. Number one being like, oh, okay, the person who set up my trap is not very far off, so let me use my insane sprint to get to them real quick. Or you're in a chase already and suddenly your kid happens to be triggered, which is kind of a funny phrase, so you use your newfound sprint to immediately catch up to survivors and hit them. And if you're lucky, that is an easy down in the right situation. I also really like the idea of, say, maybe you and a friend are working on a gen together. In the distance you see La Llorona, and here is a very important detail I really should have mentioned earlier but I didn't. is that instead of a heartbeat, you'll hear her crying. So there will be no heartbeat, there'll be a crying in place of the heartbeat. So you see her in the distance, and you're almost done with the gen, so you think, you and your buddy look at each other, and you're just like, we'll finish it. She's not that fast, we can outrun her, we got sprint burst, we got decisive strike. So she's closing in, you're about to finish the gen, and then in the distance, you suddenly hear a child crying, and Llorona goes from waifu to not so... Well, I mean, she could be a waifu still in her beast mode. It's just a matter of experimentation. But she goes into beast mode and she is suddenly charging after you, and you look at your friend and basically go, "Run, bitch! Run!" And you go in your separate ways and hope, and you basically hope the killer goes after the other person. As someone who is Hispanic, I really want at least some Hispanic influence in a DLC, whether it be a survivor or a killer, and I would absolutely love La Llorona to get some more attention, because nothing is scarier than a Mexican mother who is absolutely pissed off at you. And next on the list is a licensed killer from a video game, which you know, I kind of started the intro as if it was going to be a big surprise, but more than likely I'm going to put it on the title for clicks, because that's just how YouTube works, but it will be the Keeper from Evil Within. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually do like the fact that we've been getting tons of licensed killers lately, but I kind of want to break from them, but at the same time, I would totally make an exception if the next licensed killer came from a video game. So, the Keeper from Evil Within is an interesting character as, well, spoiler alert, he's not really a big bad monster, he's actually another human stuck in the same situation as you are in the game, and he's looking for his daughter. So, you know, as I'm not really good with stories, but we could just go ahead and assume the entity did the same thing. Hey, come work with me, you get your daughter. Now, since we already have a basic character model go off on when it comes to the Keeper, I won't really go into specifics of his design, because you can just get that by just looking at him. Now, the challenging part came with his ability, because there are multiple things to this killer. So in the game, he has traps that are very similar to the Trapper. He is a giant with brutal strength, and he could also break his own neck to teleport. So I kind of had trouble coming up with an idea on what exactly his ability will be, and I actually decided it will be none of those three. Instead, you will notice that the Keeper also carries around a huge sack of, I'm gonna assume it's meat. I really don't know. I don't know what's in there, and I don't want to know. But he carries this around, and one of his attacks in the game is that he kind of swings the shit wildly and goes straight for you. So I was thinking, for his ability, he charges up that sack, which is, yet again, kind of weird to say, and charges to you and hits you. When he hits you, it knocks you, I want to say maybe 10, 12 feet in the opposite direction. Now, as soon as he hits you, it's actually not an automatic down, just like Billy. Instead, it will count as a regular hit. But if you happen to hit a wall or an object like a tree, a chest or something, or even a generator, as you're flying towards your 12 feet in the opposite direction, that will be an automatic down. Even then, let's say, as the Keeper, you charge at a survivor, swing your thing, hit them, they go flying, and they happen to hit another survivor, that first survivor you hit will automatically be down, and the second survivor you hit will take damage as well. So there's also situations where you could possibly get a 2-for-1. And in addition to this, for skill shot purposes, if you happen to hit a survivor with your ability into a hook, that will be an automatic hook. So like I said, I kind of had trouble coming up with an idea that would fit the Keeper, because a lot of the things he already has have been taken by other killers, like the Trapper's traps, the Hag's teleportation. And so I thought, let's go with something a little different, a little bit more fun. Like, can you imagine, you're just there, sitting there, working on a gen as always, and suddenly you just see a fucking Dwight fly way past you, and you're like, wait, what? And then you see a giant safe looming in the distance, and it's time to get out. Now, I don't know exactly how viable this ability will be. It could be great in areas that are closed in, such as the new Saw map, or in Leary's Memorial Institute, or even indoors in the asylum, where the Keeper will be an absolute threat. And there will be times such as, say, in Coldwind Farm, where there's practically little to no walls and just a bunch of open space filled with cornfields. There, the Keeper could be at a disadvantage, but like I said, at least you could still hit them into hooks and hit them into each other. And at the same time, against pallet looping, if you charge up your sack and hit a pallet, it'll be an automatic break, just similar to Leatherface and Billy's automatic break with the chainsaw. I really enjoyed Evil Within, and I would really like to see the Keeper in Dead by Daylight. in general, I would like to see more licensed video game killers instead of more movie killers. So for now, that is all we have. I still have a couple more ideas, such as an idea for a killer that is a cultist, a part of a cult inside the entity's realm that worships the entity as a god, but we will save that for another video. I just want to thank you guys for sticking out to the end of this video and checking out my stupid ideas. So if you'd be so kind to leave a comment in the video to let me know what you think, or hell, if you have any more ideas, you could also leave them in there, and if you would like me to, I would also love to put them in a video, and I would absolutely give you full credit. I will let you know that beforehand. But that is it for right now. Thank you all so much for watching. I am Chris from Genuine Chill, and I hope to see you guys next time.